All right, welcome to the maiden voyage of Terra Monstrum. I'm Chauncey, he's Tyler, and this evening we're going to start out talking about Sabrina, the new remake TV show. I guess it's a remake of a remake of a remake, now on Netflix.
Was there an original prior to the Sabrina that we know from our 90s childhoods? Or at least I know from my 90s childhood.
Well, of course, there was the comic book. So Sabrina originally came out as like a character in Archie comics, and they were expecting her to be a one-shot, but she was so popular that people called for her back, and she came back and back. And then eventually they put off her own series of comics. And then, of course, there was like some cartoons. Then there was the 90s thing, the 90s TV show. And then Archie Comics was like starting to die off, so they sort of did a new imprint of like Archie versus the Undead and Haunted Sabrina.
Yeah, I know Archie's gotten pretty weird in the last 5 years.
And then since then, there was actually a computer animated Sabrina show. And then now this new Netflix show is based off of that dark comic book.
Okay.
From that dark imprint of Archie Comics.
Yeah, out of curiosity, is that computer animated show as terrible as I picture it in my head?
Yes.
Okay.
Not only is the show itself terrible, but the art is just like that terrible era of trying to do computer art where it's just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
right there with you.
Easily my most unfortunate part of research for talking about this.
I'll handle the research next time. You can just let your brain rest. You won't have to watch any bad cartoons, I promise.
Well, I normally watch bad cartoons like for fun. So
Okay.
It wasn't that.
So it was actually maybe a joyful experience for you.
Yeah, like I'm halfway through the original He-Man, which is terrible. So it's not that bad. But Sabrina, I thought was rad. I'm of the two of us, I'm definitely more the horror movie one, and it definitely fed into my love of all things satanic and horror movie-ish.
Yeah. Now, I like my horror movies. You're definitely a tried and true horror cult member, whereas, my foot's in the water. I've dipped my toes, my foot's in the water, but I'm not fully submerged quite yet.
Yeah, my impression of you, although we haven't actually discussed this all that much, but my impression of you is that you have a little more class than I do when it comes to movies.
Oh, what? Not true, Chauncey.
I guess maybe you just have a broader view, because you were the one who introduced me to Turbo Kid, which was pretty...
Oh, Turbo Kid was so good.
Right, pretty lo-fi badass.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of Sabrina?
I really, really enjoyed it. I when I'm watching these shows, I'm usually looking for down episodes where it feels, like a serial story of the week, and I felt like Sabrina only had one of those. So we're talking, what was it, 13 episodes?
Yeah, about that.
So 12 out of 13 were super hits for me. And just overall, I really enjoyed her as a character because I like that she's absolutely willing to do the darkest witchcraft, which did leave me with some questions as to witchcraft skill. How's it grow? Where's the magic come from? Seems like she's just automatically able to do really amazing spells.
Yeah, she's like the one.
Yeah, but all the others seem pretty badass too. You had the three sirens.
Right. Like, where does it come from? Is it conviction, or is it some sort of magicometer?
Yeah. Where does it come from, and how do you get better? Because she seems to be starting at the top. Like, she's already doing the spells that people, I guess aren't supposed to be able to do, but it also seems like everybody can do any spell they want to at any point in time.
Right. I think about this a lot, actually, where magic comes from when I'm watching him. I thought that Doctor Strange did a good job of it. Like, he was a super genius, so he figured out how to get better faster.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, I'm really kind of having a hard time understanding, like, what this magic thing is anyway, because as a sciencey guy, I kind of feel like if magic does exist, it's just some science we don't get, But have you ever read, what is that book? The Witching Hour by Anne Rice?
I haven't.
So in that book, the witches...
Is that the porny one?
No, it's
okay.
That was like Eden or something like that.
Yeah.
So in the witching hour, they get their magic by there's actually like a spirit that follows their family that ends up latching on to certain people of generations, and that's where the magic comes from. And I always thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. In this one, you'd think she'd be half as strong because she's half a witch.
Yeah, you would, but she definitely has full witch strength, and still, again, they just seem to be able to grab a magic book and find the spell they want and go to town, and then it just goes off without a hitch, basically.
Right, yeah. There was definitely some kid elements to it, and if you're a person out there that wants nothing kiddie at all, this is probably not going to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got those, teenage drama elements too. Because of course our main character is, I'm not sure how old she is in this, actually. But
I think she's like 17 or something.
Yeah.
16. Oh, no, she just turned 16 in it.
Okay.
That's her birthday in it.
Yeah.
Comes the
no, you're right. Yeah. But they've got driver's license. I mean, they're... At least it avoids the trappings of, like, high school drama, because I didn't feel like it had any of that in it.
I don't know.
Nice.
It was pretty Buffy. It was pretty Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It was a bit Buffy, but they didn't spend a lot of time in school. It wasn't like, I don't know. The school was there, but the focus was the characters, and they weren't constricting them to a school setting because of their age, I guess is how I saw it.
Yeah, that's true. It needed more gore, I think.
It could have used a bit more gore. No, I'll agree with you there.
Like you were talking on that Monster of the Week style episode, I always wonder about those, if they're like an experiment to try to see, like, well, if this main plot fails, can we write out these Monster of the Week episodes or something? But in that episode, I had the same problem that you had, and that's that the makeup was kind of corny. It was
it was bad. I enjoyed the backstories. Like, I enjoyed learning more about Zelda and other aunt whose name is eluding me at the moment. Like, I thought the backstory flashbacks were great, but the idea of this witch monster creature who's just like, my witch mummy doesn't love me.
Right.
So I'm going to run around and put everybody in a ghost trance.
Right. And they really kind of phoned in the backstory for the main witch baddie.
Yeah, for sure. And we've already seen that you can just crack open a spell book and do your thing. So do you not know a spell that can, I don't know, recall your monster familiar creature back to whence it came from?
Yeah, totally. Like, it was in the super box that the box would either drive you mad or you'd be put it back into it. But in the end, Zelda just puts it in a mason jar.
Yeah. So she just had sitting around at the ready in case.
Yeah, I agree. That was terrible. But, I guess I'm being a typical internet guy by sitting here and concentrating on the one terrible episode out of the rest of it, which I really enjoyed.
It's true, but it's still, this feeds into the broader question of the magic, so I don't feel like it's too off topic.
Right.
Because for me, that's the biggest, the biggest question it leaves me with. I do want to understand how it works, and I do want to know, is there a spell cutoff? Like, oh, this spell's 5 pages. That means we're going to see blowback from it, since later on in the series, they're like, oh, every spell has a cost. But that doesn't appear to be the case unless the spell eclipses a certain magnitude.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way. With something with so much history, it should probably have a little bit of a better explanation. But to be fair, most of Archie's history has been about that level of depth.
Okay.
They were really
it's a canon experience we're getting here.
Yeah. They really sort of... So when they redid the imprint, there was like Archie versus the Undead or something. I forget exactly what it was called. And there was the Haunted Tales of Sabrina. And there was Vampire Veronica, where Veronica gets turned into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Jughead the Hunger, where he's a werewolf.
I'm assuming there wasn't a lot of backstory into why these things were occurring.
I don't know. I haven't read the comics, but I'm definitely interested. But the big buzz is, like, if this is a success, are they going to make the other ones? So the two big buzzes going on right now was this Sabrina show was originally pitched at the CW to be a spin-off of the show Riverdale.
That makes so much sense.
They didn't pick it up. Netflix picked it up. And so now they're trying to figure out, are they in the same universe?
Mm-hmm.
And will there be a crossover? And then they're also, fans are speculating, like, if it's a success, will Riverdale sort of go over to this Archie versus the Undead, and will these other aspects of the sort of new Archie imprint start to come in or create new shows or so on and so forth?
Yeah. Now, I would assume not, because I thought Riverdale wasn't just based off those horror type comics. Didn't they continue it as kind of a radical, edgy reboot of Archie beyond the horror theme?
They haven't had, as far as I know, they haven't. I didn't actually watch it. I've just read about it because it seemed a little too Dawson's Creek for me.
Yeah.
And but what I've read is they've sort of made allusions to some supernatural things, but haven't actually had anything supernatural happen on the show for 3 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just leaving that door open and swinging, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. So. Yeah. But, Jughead the Hunger, I have to say, that title alone is like, I would watch that.
Yeah, it also makes me think he'd be a Revenant, though. I mean, my first thought is certainly zombie or Revenant Jughead versus werewolf. But, no, if he's like a scary man-eating awful werewolf, I think it's a great idea.
And does he have the little crown on when he
Does he have the crown? Does the crown grow fur?
Right.
I don't know.
Does it get wedged in there in a big werewolf dreadlock?
Maybe.
But all in all, Sabrina, I'm all about it. Can't wait for the second season. I'm kind of a sucker for Netflix shows in general.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it overall. I thought the tone was good. The directing was well done. And the acting, of course, is what sells a silly show like that. It's it's the reason Supernatural's been on the air for 13 seasons.
Right, but I have to say that the Netflix shows, the reason why they're so good, I think, is because they take this sort of directing and cinematography up a notch.
Yeah, they do take it up a notch, and I think that they're willing to theme a show more than like a major network would be. Like that, they've got the cash. They're willing to risk doing a niche type project.
Right.
Because they've got such a giant market share that even if it doesn't have global across the board every demographic appeal, there's so much more of a chance to reach the demographic it would appeal to than a public television show.
Yeah, and I probably just realized something that everybody else already knows, and that is that their whole marketing strategy is different. When Netflix puts out a show, they expect it to be binge watched.
Yeah, 100%.
Where these episodic shows that are coming out on the CW don't expect that.
Yeah, and it's I think it's nice because they don't have to do a weekly hook or refresh you on everything that's gone on in every previous episode, each episode you watch. I don't know. It gives the viewer a little more, I don't know what word I'm looking for, Chance. I'm sorry. I'm still turkey tired from yesterday.
I don't blame you. Yeah, no, probably a little more like run on with the cliffhanger where it just sort of bleeds straight across. It's never picking up the next episode a week later. It's always picking up a second later.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And they really sort of are dragging you into this binge watch on purpose.
Yeah. But they do. I think what I want to say is that they treat the audience a little more intelligently. Like, you'll be capable of recalling how these pieces fit together versus we're going to need to show you every single time how all these pieces fit together every time we bring one up.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like you get what you pay for. Like, you're paying for Netflix, so you're expecting something a little better, where when you're watching the CW, you're basically only paying with your time on commercials.
Yeah, this is true.
And so like,
we're expecting you've already paid for it. They don't need to keep you around for an ad break.
Yeah, totally. But I have to say that I like it better. It is definitely better. When I was a kid, my creative life was ruined by Lord of the Rings and Robotech. because they were both so huge and epic that now I want everything epic. And to me, like watching Stranger Things, and I'm just, oh yeah, it's like an 8-hour movie. I'm just like, for some reason, I think that's great.
No, I feel you, but I think a lot of that again goes back to the upping the game in cinematography.
Yeah,
and sound design, costume design, etc. That makes it feel like a movie because they're bothering to do shots that they just aren't going to bother to do in a standard TV show.
Right. Especially with us coming out of this generation of television where it was all shaky handheld reality operating room stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So there wasn't really a lot of cinematography other than the fact that there's sort of reality television TV shots.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I'm glad that those two bridges have been gapped really, because that was the difference between TV and film, movie film, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Is predominantly the directing and the shots that they're willing to do. And, now that we have like drones have made a giant difference as far as, smaller budgets being able to do these cool sweeping aerial shots.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, I've always said like with each genre of movie, great movies surpass and need everything, but each genre needs a specific thing. And I think horror needs good visuals, and I think the show surprisingly pulls it off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think, you're doing a favor to a horror movie anytime you give it a distinct visual that carries throughout too.
Yeah.
So I also have not watched Riverdale, but certainly seeing the trailers for it, it looks like some of that kind of neon aesthetic.
Yeah.
Bled into Sabrina too.
Yeah, it's like reconstantly raining and neon-y. It looks like a Blade Runner in Riverdale for some reason.
Yeah. And I like that. It's dark. It's got an edgy feel, but, you can't, even in Sabrina, I can't quite place what time it's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a bunch of, 50s, 60s looking cars in one scene. I don't recall them talking about the internet. So when does it take place? I don't know.
Yeah, Gotham is a lot like that too.
I never gave that one a shot.
Well, they're driving around in old cars and they're using cell phones, and you're all like, "What exactly is going on here?" When does this take place?
Does it have like a Batman the Animated Series aesthetic to it?
It tries to sort of bleed together all the sort of Gothams from all the looks of the films, probably since Tim Burton's.
Okay. Yeah. I always thought animated series, they drew their own cars. Like nothing in that world actually existed, so it all looked like a melding between 90s and 30s aesthetics.
Yeah,
so it was cool.
Totally. Yeah, I agree with the big old chins.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I got to say, Sabrina is a 100% thumbs up for me. I'm looking forward to another season.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait.